Welcome to another session in this series. We are still on for loop. We want to do one more example in this for loop series so that we can also see how we can go around some other aspects. Now, we have the list of the student's name and we have another list for their score. So, we want to collect everything inside a dictionary so that the name of a student will be a key to its score. So that if we want to know the score of any particular student, we just call it through its name. This could be done using a zip function. So, for example, if you just say zip of name, score, and we say ticked. So if we run this, you can see everything here has become a dictionary where the name of each student has become a key for the score of each student. Now, I don't want us to use this method. Rather, I want us to do the hard work of doing this by ourselves because the method we are going to be applying in order to achieve that is going to really open your eyes as a beginner to a way of thinking which will help you in the future when you are doing some task that will require such line of thought. So good. Before I move forward, I want us to quickly review some concepts in dictionary. Let's say I have a diction. It's a dictionary and it contains name and then the score is 50 and then I have another dictionary and the score is 62 is 60. Now if I want to add, so let me run this. You can see that this is a dictionary. Now if I want to add a new member to this dictionary, how do I do it? I will just put the key like the diction and then I will put the key here. What is the key? The student name is Fumi, so just put Fumi. And then we see that this is representing the key, and we are saying that this key is for this value. So we say 66. So when I run this, so if I come now and call on dictionary again, diction, what we have, you can see that this new member has been added to this dictionary. What of if this was an empty dictionary? You see now, this was an empty dictionary. Let me just do this. Yeah. So if I run this again, you can see it's an empty dictionary. So if I do this on it, like diction into this, then what do we have? You can see that this element has been added to the dictionary. Now, having understood all of these fundamental concepts, let's tackle the problem here. Good. So let's call our empty dictionary and call it score because we want to put this in a dictionary. We have to start with an empty dictionary. So let's call it score record. So it's an empty dictionary. And then we want to loop, but we are going to use another approach. So we say for index and the range of length of name. Now, what have I done here? I have used this list, the length of this list, to create a range. So, which means that if you have 1000 elements in this list, we are going to create a range. The length will be 1000 and its range will be what? Will be from 0 to 999. If you do not know how the range function works, there is a video on range function. I will put the link to the description of this video so that you can really go there and see how this works, because if you don't understand it, you will get confused from the beginning. Now, I will use, since both of them are of the same number, they have the same number of elements, I will use the range here, like this range, to create an index. So, for example, now let's say print index. You can see index is 0, 1, 2, 3, which means that there are 4 elements in both of them. So with this, I can do some things. So let's go. The first thing is that I want to create, since we have our dictionary here, I want to create an element, a key value pair for the dictionary. And the key will be a name here for the corresponding value here, the name here for the corresponding score here. Since the arrangement is the same, the first name for the first score, second name for the second score, then we know that the index is the same. And that is why we can go with this. So I can say, okay, score record. So we are creating values for the score record. So score record, what is going to be the key? The key is going to be from the name name list. But if we want to do that, for us to get anything from the name, we have to call it out, and that should be name itself, and then the index. How do you want to know the index? Instead of putting any index here, I'm putting this, so that by the time it is looping, when it is at index 0, the index here will be 0, and it will go for this. When it is at index 1, the index here will be 1. So I call it index. Now, so which means that the value in this place will be from this, and it will change with the index. Good. So I think before I go forward, let me print this. So I cannot print this because the score is not, the score record is still not yet, we have not added this to the score record. So if you print this, it's going to give us error. So now, what is the value we want to attach to this? The value we want to attach to this is from the score. And so that should be score, but we have to specify at what index. And that index is going to be the same index that is here. So we put it index. So which means that for the first iteration, it's going to be for index 0. So there will be index 0 here, index 0 here, 0 here, 0 here, which will be 0 for Ola and 0 for 98 based on this. So, good. With this, we have been able to create a key value pair that will be formed at each iteration. So when we have the first iteration, we will have this one at key value pair, this, and so on. So at this point, we should be able to create our dictionary. So let me run it, and then let me come down. So this call record should have been updated. So let me say score record. You can see now that our dictionary has been formed. Before I go, if I change this length here to score, what do you think? Do you think we are going to get the same answer or not? We are going to get the same answer. Why? Because the length is still the same. So we are not dealing with the values inside here, rather we are dealing with the length. So the length of this is the same thing as the length of this. So if we are doing something like this, just choose which of them you want to use. So if I run it, it's the same thing. And that is how we are able to do this. So when you use the dict and the zip function to achieve this, this is the small code that has gone on behind. So good. I think this is an assignment for us. So find all the numbers from 1 to 1,000 that are divisible by 10, and then find their total, their average, and the number of integers which falls to that category. So this is the explanation. Put all the numbers that fulfill that condition in a list. So create an empty list and put all the numbers that fulfill that condition inside a list. Get the sum of all the numbers. So every number that fulfills their condition that is inside that list, get their total. Get the total of all the numbers. So I think this is application of this one. Get the average of all the numbers and then get their average also. I think you are going to be laying your hand on this notebook because the link to it will be in the description below. Thank you very much. We are going to be talking about while loop in the next session. And then you will see how we can also use while loop to achieve some conditions. Thank you very much until we meet in the next one.